Hey, Dan.
Hey there.
Oh, wow. Nice background.
Ah, trying to get my audio.
Their budget thing, are you going to use that for a weekly grade for them?
All right. Who can hear me?
I can.
All right. There it is. Sorry, couldn't get those speakers connected.
No worries. I'm the only one in here so far.
Okay. It's like I thought I'd heard Thomas Chapman earlier. Yeah, shockingly few people submitted their assignments.
I was going to ask if you were intending to use that as a weekly grade for them.
I mean, I guess I didn't give them advance notice, but it certainly will be things in the future.
Hey, so I just found out a few minutes ago where to turn in the thing. I was checking modules instead of assignments, but I turned it in.
Yep, I saw yours, Jay. Thank you.
Of course.
You were good. So many shy people today. Oh, there's a brave one.
Hunter had such a nice time at the restaurant last night. It was so good.
I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed it.
It was so great. And thank you so much for dessert. It was great.
Of course, of course.
Did you fill the cannolis yourself?
Yeah, we actually made the shells too.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
But yes, I did have to fill up the cannolis real quick right before I served them.
Nice. That was so good. We went to the Italian restaurant where Hunter works last night, and it was Tuesday, so it was pizza night. But we each had a pizza, and we had Miss Kaken and I had cannolis, and Miss Darling had a tiramisu. Very good. All of it was very good.
Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that night I had to be a prep chef, a dishwasher, and a server assistant.
Staffing shortage is real.
Hmm?
All right, still missing a few. People taking a late lunch or just working banker's hours.
Here comes LeBron.
Hey,
Hey.
it was Neikirk. Nice beach.
How you doing, LeBron? That's right, the waves are rolling in. There's a beautiful breeze. It's gorgeous today here.
I didn't know until the other day Randall's not in here anymore, so I'm
Okay, anything else?
You can do all these different filters,
Yeah.
like
You can feed your inner tween and put all the filters you want on.
I have facial hair.
That's very convincing.
I have facial hair.
Can you get Thomas Chapman hair?
You know what? I don't think I can change my head hair.
He can't give you that level of awesomeness.
No, I'm gonna be a pirate. That's pretty cool.
Probably would break the computer to try to do that.
A Breaking Bad hat.
Go
And-
Heisenberg.
I don't know how to get rid of it. Mm. Oh no.
All right. Well, I mean, I emailed some people about presenting, and it looks like that scared them off. Tell ya.
Uh-oh.
Who knows what strange people I may call upon out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you that submitted your budgets to me.
5.
Full scores for those people. Senior class not looking so prepared.
Mm-mm-mm.
Did anyone struggle to understand how to use the spreadsheet?
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a new experience. It takes time and it's different between Excel or Numbers or Google Sheets. So
I was just trying to find like the budget for like the military. But the thing is, it got like E1 to E9.
Yep. Yeah.
So I couldn't find like how much they make in a month for like E1 stuff like that. I could just find like how much they make in a year.
So you divide them up.
Okay, yeah, and there's something called the Congressional Budget Oversight Office. The shorthand in the government is OMB, and they have all the information, and you can even find out how much like extra, it's called the base housing allowance you get if you're not living on base. If you're enlisted, not an officer, I think you probably have to do the barracks, but yeah, there's that info's out there, but it does take some time getting used to where to find it because they have all those things for families planning and having to move for their PCS moves, the permanent change of station. So it is a little harder to find, but it's out there. Yeah, spreadsheets are a skill many adults struggle with, and there's no better way to learn than just by using them some. All right, well, I think we're just going to go ahead and jump on in here. And Kyla, you were a person I'd emailed. Are you ready to talk some?
Yeah.
Woo woo. All right. Miss McClellan, would you be so kind as to enable screen sharing for all?
Sure thing. Allow participants to share screen. Should be good now.
Thank you. Now let me go ahead and toss this up here.
I will also go ahead and just make you the host.
That sounds good. All right. Oh, that's the wrong one. My feeble mind did not compute that correctly. There it is. All right, Kyla. Talk us through it a little bit. What's your occupation gonna be?
So I want to be a translator, and like that's just like my budget. Like I don't really know what to say, honestly. Like
Yeah, I'll just ask you some questions and we'll walk through it easily.
okay,
So translating what?
different languages like Spanish and Japanese. Those are like the 2 languages I want to learn.
Okay, do you know anyone that does that job?
My cousin.
Cool. Are there languages you're currently fluent in and feel comfortable translating?
not fluent, but like I understand like some basics of Spanish.
Okay. What's the job market like for that? How likely is it to get a job, and where can you get those jobs?
Like in federal things, like a federal job for translating, like a federal government job.
Yeah, I know we have a service here at the school where if we have someone, calling in, they have a student here, but the parent only speaks Arabic, there's like a telephone line that we call and connect, and we'll get a translator through it. We have to pay, per use of that, but the people on the lines are like salaried employees for that service. So there's definitely a big market for that. There's a lot of market I know in like international business, especially for Japanese. So I think that's a really good thing, and something even with the rise of the machines and computers, that's probably pretty good options for work. There's probably a lot of options to do that remotely, especially if you're translating technical documents. I know a lot of people, if you buy something on eBay or Amazon, you'll get the user manual and it's like, reads pretty weird. And they need translators to help translate those things. They need people that can understand the technical part of things. So there's definitely markets out there for that job. Well, awesome. So when you were estimating your paycheck, what area of the country were you living in that you think makes that much?
The US.
Okay, but was there like a specific city or anything? I mean, if you
Like
live in San
some-
Francisco, you get paid like 3 times as much as if you live in South Carolina because it's so much more expensive to live.
Yeah, I looked in Georgia. That's the state I looked in.
Okay, cool. So you've got your monthly income here, and you're pretty confident that's like a starting salary for that job?
Yeah, that's what I found on Google.
Awesome. So as you're going through that, and you're putting in your salary there, you're working a little bit of extra jobs to make some more money. What kind of extra work do you think you might do?
Something like Shipt or DoorDash.
Yeah, a little extra delivery stuff works out great. All right, and I see you, went ahead and put down some different housing costs here. What kind of housing situation are you thinking of living in?
An apartment,
By yourself or with a roommate?
probably by myself.
Okay, so that's like, where did you find that was the cost of like a single person apartment?
I didn't look into that.
Okay. Yeah, so that's just something that would change a lot. In the Charleston area, a lot of times if you want to live in a single apartment, the kind of cheapest one you'll find is over $1,000. And they can go up to, in the 2000s for the fancy student housing downtown ones. So if you live in rural areas, if you live up in like St. George, South Carolina, you can find an apartment by yourself for that price. So that's just some of those things to consider when you think about a roommate or not a roommate and what areas of the country to live in. You want to look at those costs before you accept a job because you need to know if the salary will support the way you think you need to live. Your food total, that computes from groceries and eating out, things like that. What do you think you were doing mainly?
Buying groceries, I don't think I'll like eat out as much because it's just too much money. It's easier to like cook food at home.
Yeah, but it was realistic there to leave some money budgeted for eating out. It's likely you'd eat out a time or two. I'll tell you, one of the biggest ways to save money is just to like pack a lunch at home and bring it, whether it's leftovers or a sandwich. Even if you're buying like a pre-made frozen meal or something, eating it at work, it adds up really fast when you eat lunch and pick up delivery and stuff. A lot of our teachers learned that when we were working downtown. Those food options were enticing, but they took a big chunk out of a lot of teachers' budgets each month. Yes, Miss McClellan?
I didn't actually mean to raise my hand. I was just trying to agree with what you said and I hit the wrong thing.
Yeah, but being downtown was bad for our waistlines and our budgets. So, getting around. So do you plan on having a car or using public transit?
A car.
Yeah, and so you budgeted in there for some car insurance and gas and maintenance. All looks pretty good. You still have some other things, so maybe a couple Uber rides in there each month. What kind of fun things do you plan on doing as a young working adult out on your own?
Like hanging out with my friends, like I don't really know, like something involving like playing video games, probably like that could be like a part of fun. Like I don't really know.
Yeah, definitely. Do you plan on, like video games that you pay to keep playing, or just like buying a new one every couple months or something?
Like buying a new one every few months.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people that say, video games are some of the best value in entertainment because, yeah, maybe it'll cost a lot more than a movie or something, but you get many more hours of use from it than if you just get a movie or, go to a concert. So a lot of people think that's a really good way to get entertainment on your budget. Technology stuff. What kind of streaming things are you planning on doing?
Probably Hulu and HBO Max.
Okay. Yeah, I once saw a quote from the CEO of HBO. He said he didn't care if people shared their logins because they're not in the business of getting subscribers. They're in the business of creating addicts. And I thought that was pretty insightful on the kind of psychology and marketing these big companies are using. They just want to try to get you locked into their lifestyle and ecosystem to keep your money going. But as long as you can limit it to one or two of those and you're actually using them a lot, I don't think it's really a problem. And then some of the lifestyle costs going together there, that's, like your clothes, your home stuff. Do those budgets seem realistic for the amount of clothes you might need to own while you're working as an interpreter?
Not really, but like I was starting to go over budget. So like I had to narrow one down. So like I would just like cut down on clothes spending.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens later on is you have to make choices and start cutting things. Now, you ended up with $1,500 left over at the end of each month, so you probably have some room to raise it up, but were your plans for that to put in long-term savings or invested? What were you thinking with that leftover chunk of change?
I would probably end up like saving half, then investing the other half into like stocks or Bitcoin.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a great idea to look at some long-term investments, and we'll talk more about compound interest and everything in the future. And then making sure you're saving half in a liquid asset, which means you can get access to it that day. So like a bank account or cash or money market. And that way, if your car breaks down or if there's a fire in your apartment or something, you get sick, you have the money to pay the bill. So that's a great plan. All right, excellent job, Kyla. Everyone give her a nice virtual round of applause. Yay. Any questions from the group on Kyla's budget? No questions at all. I tell you. Well, my other volunteers, victims, have graciously decided not to share their presence with us. So I'm going to roll on down. And just because Jay happened to get my attention earlier on this call today, I'm going to have Jay present here. So unexpected surprise. Yay! All right, Jay, go ahead and talk us through it a little bit here. What kind of job are we working to make this cheddar?
So my job was a video game musician, like someone who composes the score for a video game. And I picked the average salary, which is 48,800, like the annual salary is 48,887. So I just rounded that up to 48,900.
Okay, and is that like the average for that field or average for one location in the country?
Average for the field.
Okay, so great job knowing that information. Just realized starting out, it would probably be on the lower end, and then depending on where you live, a composer living in Los Angeles or New York will probably get paid a lot more than one living in Cincinnati, say.
Exactly.
So yeah, good info to know. What kind of additional income are you thinking of making there?
I was thinking of maybe just like trying to be a manager at like a Barnes and Noble or something, just something simple in retail because I don't want to work food anymore. Um, so that's my main plan there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be more, I just didn't know how to really like fully put everything in that way. I was learning. So my annual wage would probably be around like if I was like a starting out video game musician, it would probably be around like 36,000.
Sorry, my screen keeps jumping around there. I apologize if that showed you guys the wrong things.
It's all right. So
All right.
I think initially, if I ended up like with a manager position at one of the stores or something, it would probably be around 36,000 if I was still composing video games on the side, just as a starter like composer there. Because the lowest is like around 1,000 actually. But if I do good work, it could probably get to 5,000 to start, and eventually it would take time.
Excellent. And one thing, a lot of those jobs that can go on for, composing, music, the arts, a lot of times those can end up as either part-time or contract work, so they may not come with benefits. So having a job, a second gig somewhere else in the corporate world, at like a franchised establishment, whether it's Starbucks, McDonald's, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, a lot of times those jobs you can get benefits, and that's a big cost savings over having to pay for your own health insurance. So just another thing to think about there.
Yeah.
All right. So what area of the country were you looking up your living expenses?
Seattle. It was about average because I would want to have a roommate. So like an apartment in Seattle would be around like 1,000 to 2,000. So I was thinking I'd go for like maybe a kind of average apartment and just leave that there.
Okay. And then planning on having a roommate with it?
Oh, I plan on having a roommate so we could kind of split the cost of the apartment and everything.
Yeah, splitting costs is good. And another thing, and some of our teachers that moved here from afar can definitely attest to that, is when you move to a new city, if you don't already have family or friends there, who do you put down as like your emergency contact? Like, what do you do if the water's overflowing and the landlord is like, hey, we need to come into your apartment. You need to, like, sometimes it's really helpful to have two people to manage some of those things and be able to support each other than just yourself. Finding a safe roommate is a whole other thing we can get into though. All right, good job. Keep going. Your food costs are a lot higher than we had in our last showcase with Kyla. So what do we think made your food go up?
I'm a foodie, so I like eating out a lot, but I also can learn how to cook some things, so it's not going to be like too much, but I'd say like I'd probably want to eat out maybe once or twice a week. So like, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that sounds fair. And I mean, Seattle is a more expensive area for groceries, I believe, than some other areas.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are pretty good things to be thinking through and looking at. Yeah, not to mention some people just eat more. Like I eat way more food than my wife and her friends did when we met. So my food budget was a lot higher. As far as amount of food, they like fancier food. So there's that. All right, getting around, your cost is gone up here. And we've got, you calculating car insurance, gas, maintenance, a little extra transportation. What's going on with your getting around situation?
I don't think that's entirely accurate because I'm not sure if I would want a car as much as like a bike or something. I didn't realize that was how I was supposed to change that there. But I'd say it's pretty accurate if I did want to keep a car. So like if I had a car, I would probably want to go for like a hybrid or something. So gas would be a lot less. But generally, if I had like a regular car, that would probably be the cost, especially in a city area. But I'd probably more than anything bike around unless I was going somewhere far.
Yeah, definitely living in a city, having a car can often be a burden. Like when we were located downtown, it was faster for me to bike around most of downtown than to try to drive to meetings at the school district or the College of Charleston or something. It was faster for me to just to bike than to drive through all the traffic and find somewhere to park and then get there. And the other expense with a car in the city is the parking normally. It's a lot of times difficult to find on-street parking. You have to move it all the time because of street sweeping. So definitely those are different things to weigh. Your gas cost goes down, but parking costs can go up. All right, so we've got some entertainment going on here with about $100 a month. What kind of entertaining are you doing living on your own here?
Video games and maybe some subscriptions.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. If you're someone that likes concerts, I will let you know those are pretty pricey things. So certainly get used to trying to find like free concerts and, you know, deals where it's last minute and someone's just like, hey, I can't go. Anyone want these tickets? That's definitely something to think through there. That's an easy way to blow that area of your budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, your clothes and home furnishing for your profession and your jobs. Do you feel like that's an adequate the way you need? If you're biking, you might be wearing through clothes. I don't know.
I think that's pretty much accurate for what I would need. I tend to find cheap places to get clothes and everything, and it works out for me well. And home furnishings, I mean, I'm kind of like a minimalist when it comes to that kind of thing. So I like simple decorations and everything.
Awesome. You got some money in the budget for a pet. What kind of pet you going for?
I don't know about a dog anymore. Otherwise, that would be much higher. So I'm thinking if I go for a pet, it would probably just be like a fish or something. It'd die eventually, and then I'd just have nothing.
Yeah, a dog is definitely a much higher investment of your time and money than most other pets. And you have to think like, especially if you're living without a roommate, who's taking care of the pet when you're gone. So a lot of those things are just some struggles that other people wouldn't deal with. Definitely. You got some money in a sinking fund here. You have any plan for what that's going to?
Nope, it's just in case I need it. Like
Yep.
that.
Yeah, a lot of times. Yeah, go ahead.
Just generally, like if anything comes up, I want to always like try and include just a random amount for that. I mean, like sometimes there'll be random taxes that I have to do. I don't know.
Yep.
It wasn't
Yes.
for anything specific.
Yeah, it's a good idea to be putting some away if you're going to be doing any kind of contracting. Remember to be setting aside about a third of that money for taxes. My wife teaches dance, and so when she's a 1099, a contracted employee, we have two different accounts money goes into. One is like, I call it dance cash, and that's where all the money gets deposited. And then automatically a third of it gets transferred to tax money savings. And that's just the money for the end of your tax bill. And if the tax bill comes in lower, hooray, extra money. But you don't want to leave the IRS hanging for sure. So you're left with a good chunk of money left over, about $1,000 there. Any plans for that?
College loans, but also anything else that like might come up that I want to do. Like if I want to take a trip to Charleston to visit family or something. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, you had your budget here for some student loans, and that's good to make sure you're making the payments, but definitely saving extra and trying to pay those bad boys off. The less debt you have, the more freedom you have in life. That's for sure.
if I have
That's a
extra,
great plan.
I would add more into student loans for sure.
Yeah, and definitely just for everyone, you know, as you're looking at these budget numbers and what things can cost, plan on making on the low end of what you might make, because you'll be starting out and don't have experience. You won't be able to negotiate a higher salary a lot of the time, and plan on your expenses being a little higher, because it's often shocking depending on where you live and just some of the things you aren't used to paying for, whether it's, you know, different kinds of insurance or just how much it costs to, you know, get seltzer, fancy bubbly drinks or whatever it is. Those things, you know, plan on things costing more than you may think originally. And I would encourage all of you, ask your parents if you can to, you know, sit down and talk about your family budget with them, see if they'll share what things cost with you and their expenses, and maybe they don't have a plan for their budget. Be a great way to start. All right, great job, Jay. Virtual round of applause for Jay. Anyone have any questions for Jay? All right. Well, in that case, Hunter Crook, you were talking about your current gig earlier. I'm going to let you present now. So yay, another unexpected presentation. Talk us through here, man. What are you working in?
Well, basically, I just chose to be a restaurant owner, and this is the average cost per year in Boise, Idaho.
All right.
So that's why I wanted to choose. So paycheck's going to be about $3,000 per month. And I'm going to get paid about $14.50 an hour. And 577 per week, and semi-monthly about 1,500. So yeah.
All right. So, and just one thing, you said that as a restaurant owner, correct?
Yes, restaurant owner.
So how are you going to own this restaurant? How's that going to get started right away?
It's going to start by renting.
All right. So your living situation, what's it look like?
I plan to live in an apartment with a roommate.
Okay. And is that also out in Boise?
Yes.
All right. I know they've had a lot of expansion out there. It's recently ranked as one of the best places to live and raise a family.
Yep.
So a lot of growth and expansion in that area, much like Charleston. So prices would probably be pretty similar, but I haven't looked. I didn't know. Did you see costs pretty similar to Charleston, or how different were they?
It actually wasn't way too much more expensive than Charleston. Not too bad. I think it's rated
Okay.
one of the most affordable places in the United States.
All right. Yeah. Excellent. Well, just kind of take me through what areas in your budget did you see a lot of changes? You heard what I asked Jay. You heard what I asked Kyla. So, answer some of those kind of general things. What's your lifestyle looking like?
Well, I'm definitely going to try to go grocery shopping more so than I will go out to eat. I'll probably most definitely have a car to drive to and from places, because Boise is not like a city like New York where you can basically walk and take the bus or ride a bike to most places. Boise is kind of like a more spread out area.
Yeah, and it gets pretty dang cold there. You probably don't want to bike in the deep winter.
Oh, exactly. Plus everything is kind of spread out there. There's a good bit to do, but it's mostly like drivable stuff. So definitely, having a car is definitely needed. So I'll definitely have a car. I'll definitely be spending a lot on gas. I'll probably end up paying more than 200 in some cases.
Okay. Well, you're not going to have a whole lot of time to go other places if you're a restaurant owner. You will stay quite busy.
That's true.
Did you factor in eating like employee meals, or using any of the business costs for, sampling and menu items, and that counting for some of your meals?
I didn't.
All right. Yeah. That's just something to think about. I know you currently work at a restaurant. I don't know if they do employee meals or different tastings or anything, or, family dinner at the end of the shift, but there are a lot of restaurants that do stuff like that.
My boss, go ahead.
Go on.
Well, my boss will he'll make the staff a big meal out of stuff that's going to go bad soon. So he can't sell it for the next week, and he'll just give it to us at the end of the shift, basically.
Yeah.
That's what he'll do instead of throwing it away, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a good way to go. Streaming services, what kind of things do you think you'll be subscribing to?
I'll probably have like Netflix and Hulu and Spotify Premium.
All right. Long-term savings, you thinking about anything particular with those goals?
I definitely want to open up like a savings account where I can invest my money in certain things.
Okay, yeah, like a money market or a brokerage account.
Yeah, like that type of deal.
All right. And you have student loans on here. Does this seem like a realistic amount for what you might be repaying with what you're looking for college-wise?
It'll probably be more.
Okay, yeah, that's just something to think about as you're considering college is what's that total cost of going to college? The cost of your housing when you're there? Is there another school that can offer you more of a scholarship, even if it's not in your favorite town? Because that'll affect the kind of lifestyle you can have for many years after college. So
Right.
definitely looking at that. And then you're left with an amount of money left over here. You got to be investing that back into your business, working to own the restaurant, or what are you doing with that?
I'm gonna invest a good bit in the restaurant and definitely just invest in like a brokerage account or maybe stocks. I don't know though. Probably more so just saving up though.
Sure. I get it. All right. Any questions for Hunter before we give him his round of applause? They'll being stingy here on the questions. All right. Well, granted, he was asked to present without any notice, so give him that round of applause. All right. I would have loved to see on all the budgets that I got a little more detail going down into things, but it was a good first experience for using a spreadsheet. I hope it's getting you guys thinking about budgets and everything. The most valuable tool for this is just being able to talk to actual people who have been in the situation you want to be in, whether it's living on their own out of school, working a first job, working your specific career, living in that specific situation. How many of you were able, and put it in the chat or just speak up here, how many of you were able to talk to an adult and ask them actual specific questions?
I asked my mom a lot of questions, like a lot of questions. And then
Good.
at one point she was like, I'm not telling you the housing total income, housing income. I was like, I don't want yours. I need my own. She's like, yeah, but they're not going to get that information from me. It's like, okay. Which makes sense, but
Sure. All right, we have one person, two people that have actually talked to people. I know one of you had emailed me about some issues with talking to someone, so I understand that. But come on, you're like seniors. You're ready to go out in the world.
I went like on apartments.com and like was finding houses and things like that. And I ended up talking to like one person, like an agent, to get like the cost of some things, and they just would not give me a straight answer. So I kind of made it up.
Yeah. And right now, the housing market, it's hard to get some of that info, but it's the same thing whether you're buying a car or doing an apartment. The internet and specifically emails your friend, just email people and you can do things totally fictitiously and just say, hey, I'm looking to move to Charleston for a new job. I'm going to be moving in on September 30th. I'd like to know a one-bedroom apartment that's 800 square feet. What do you have that's available and what would it cost? And then they can ask things like, what credit score do you need? What kind of deposits? You can get all that information. Like it's their job to give that stuff out. You're not wasting their time. So don't hesitate to just reach out and get some of that info wherever it is you're interested in living. Besides the two people that already told me they did, who in the world out there, was able to have a conversation with their parents about money in your family and what you guys spend? Were any of you able to have those conversations, and were your parents open to talking about it? So that's 3 people now. I know we're able to do that. Going to have to start showing disturbing images on the screen to wake you guys up. This tranquil ocean background is apparently lulling you to sleep.
We're good.
LeBron, you're responding. I know you're awake.
Yes, I am.
I see. Not gonna lie, I was pretty disappointed in how few people turned in things. All right, well, I'm gonna share a screen here. Oh, what was that?
Hey, my brother wants to say something. My brother's a blue collar worker.
All right, yeah, Union Millwright for Georgia Pacific. That's a great job.
Yeah, I mean, for those guys who's willing to go to college and things like that. When I was 18, 17 years old, coming out of high school, I definitely didn't know what I wanted to do until, one of my best friends told me about it. He's like, "Hey, want to become a millwright?" Then I had no idea about being a millwright. A millwright is nothing but a maintenance mechanic that works at different plants. But I worked at Georgia Pacific. It's a multi-craft trade. I tell you that much. It's earned a good living for me. I'll be 30 years old this year, but I try to tell
Can
people.
you explain to these guys what a millwright does?
So a millwright is it's pretty much a welder. They do welding, a lot of fabrication. Anything that you see that's being built in the world is done with a maintenance guy or electrician in the world, per se. In quotations on that right there.
So I mean, someone's got to build the parts at the factory that make the parts that then get assembled to use.
Absolutely. I can tell you one thing, a lot of people tell you got to go to college and have a good living. You don't. It's pretty good jobs out here. It's a lot of jobs out here that's paying good money. And you're able to move up being a young person coming out of high school, you're willing to learn. They'll show you a lot of stuff out there. A lot. Georgia Pacific has been good to me for almost 7 years.
Yeah. Are you able and willing to tell us what like a guy out of high school who goes through an apprenticeship, learns the skill, and they're starting out in the field, what would Georgia Pacific be paying them union rate as they're starting off as a millwright?
So depending on what state you're in, like I only can speak for Georgia. I live in Georgia. So the millwright depends on, they got different union millwrights. The average pay is roughly about $17, $18 an hour. You do that for 5 years. You learn the trade. You learn how to read a tape measure, how to use a torch rig, how to weld, how to stick weld, how to use basic hand tools. You name it. Anything you could possibly think of, they're going to teach you that for 5 years. So from 5 years, you go from $18 an hour. Every year you get a pay increase. It goes up to like $1, $2 here until you get your journeyman's license. Journeyman license. I know guys right now that's making $75 an hour in California. Right now, they bring home every week. They get paid every week out there. He showed me a check stub. I tell you no lie, that it was probably about $3,500, $4,500
Each week, right?
Each week. Electricians make good money.
With the union, you've got benefits going on with Georgia Pacific, right?
Absolutely. 401k, medical, dental, healthcare. If I have a family, I can add them to my healthcare. The healthcare, roughly every month, I pay roughly about $400 just for me. It's pretty costly, healthcare.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Well, LeBron's brother, what's your name?
Jordan.
Jordan, thank you so much for that information. We really appreciate you being willing to share that with us.
Right on.
Yeah. So all of you guys out there, remember that whether it's, electrician, welder, plumber, machinist, millwright, there's a lot of jobs out there where you can get paid to learn the skill instead of having to pay for college, and they pay well. There's a lot of different things out there. So don't feel like you have to go to college. You can do those jobs for some time, save up money, and then if you want to go to college, you can pay cash for it. So there's a lot of options out there other than the traditional take out student loans, go to college, and then figure out what you want to do with your life. All right. Well, I encourage all of you to, keep
Wait,
reaching out
wait,
to
wait, wait,
adults.
hold on, hold on.
Go ahead, Cece.
No, because he was about to end the thing. I don't want him to end it just yet, Mom. Okay, so my mom, well, I want my mom to come and speak to our class.
I would love to have Sharifa share.
When can she do that?
I will email her and we'll make a time to hear from her.
Oh, okay. He's gonna email you. She said, okay.
Awesome. All right. Next Wednesday, we are going to be doing some dirty things outside. So just keep in mind when you're getting dressed, we're not going to be rolling in dirt on the ground, but your hands will get dirty. Probably not a good day to wear all white. So next Wednesday, we'll be outside doing some car things. But keep talking with people about how to, spend money, save money, and what kind of things make money. And keep doing that research. If you haven't sent me your budget, please do that, and I'll give you some feedback. All right. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
See ya.